So one thing we haven't talked about is making patch layouts. And so I've made a video here which is going twice as fast as the regular speed, because it's a long video and I don't want you to suffer through 20 minutes of just going over a very simple process of creating a patch. So anyway, as you can see here, I'm creating a fillet, and then I'm using that fillet to trim the surfaces because it's failing. The fillet is failing because it's just too complex, and so the software is having a really tough time getting that fillet to work. So what I had to do was go in, create a fillet. It fails, but there's still a surface in there. And then I'm just selecting the surfaces the software created, and then I'm using them to trim the original surfaces. And then this is the result I'm getting here. And it's not exactly what we want because it's getting us that almost like a cone fillet. It's just a very strange transition between a fillet that goes inwards to a different fillet that goes the opposite direction. So it's like concave to convex. And so to do that, I had to create a patch. And so in this video, at this point, you can kind of see it where I'm setting up a few lines and I'm trying to line it up and make it square so it has 4 sides, 4 edges. And there's a few different ways to do it, and some ways are better than others. Like one of them would be just keeping the fillet as they are, and then you get really, poor results, but you can still get a solid object. So if it's small enough, if it's a very, very small detail, then it doesn't matter that much. Now, in this case, it's relatively large. All right, it's a medium-sized fillet, so we kind of want to fix it up so it looks better. And so in this case here, we had 2 different edges, so I have to break it up into at least 2 different patches. And so you can see how I'm just setting up 2 square edges, basically just making sure there's 4 sides. And I had some issues with this one because it's not straight, and originally as I was building it, I thought it was straight because it's not really my model, it's someone else's model that I'm just trying to go over and see if there's one way that's better than another to create this patch layout. So basically, as I'm building different patches, I'm going to be figuring out what works, what doesn't work, why, and just better understand like how the continuity of the surface changes from going from concave to convex. And so as you're building different patches, you're going to start understanding like what works and what doesn't work. And so even if you're a great 3D modeler, you're going to have to go back and forth and figure out where does it begin, where does it end, where does it go positive, where does it go negative. And when I use the term positive and negative, I'm talking about concave and convex. Like you can see one of the fillets is upside down, the other one is just a regular fillet. And so that's what I mean when I say positive and negative. It goes in or it goes out. Yeah, so here in the video you can see there's 4 sides, and so the first thing I'm going to try is using the curve network command. And so the curve network command gives you different features like using tangency and using curvature. And most of the time tangency works better, but in this case you kind of want to use both. You want to use tangent whenever possible. And yeah, in this case you just want tangency because it's a simple fillet. And so either way, you can see this already gives us like slightly better results than what the software did originally. So this is a decent solution, but it's not perfect. And you'll see that later. You'll still get like a slight edge. And yeah, you'll see that right after I do this patch. It looks pretty decent. Then I also try doing things like doing a sweep. You can easily do a sweep and get the same results. Yeah, you can kind of see it here, but it still has a slight edge. So the whole point here is to show you like there's no right or wrong ways to do patches, and in this case it's a patch layout because there's more than one patch. But it really depends on the type of results you want. And so this one here was actually decent because it's very similar to what the software did for us when it just asks, when you ask the software to do a simple fillet, this is pretty much what it does. So it's just like fixing up the software so it trims correctly. And so it's an okay solution. As long as the fillet is relatively small, it's acceptable. You know, you could do that for 3D printing, and you wouldn't really notice that there's a slight edge on it. Yeah, so you can see it's slightly bumpy, but for the most part, since it's a very small fillet, it just does the job. It's okay.